So Tristan Harris has been making the rounds on all the popular podcasts recently. For those who don't know, Tristan is
one of the world's most influential technology ethicists,
who created the Center for Humane Technology after correctly predicting the dangers social media would have on our society.
Recently, a friend and I were discussing the Diary of a CEO podcast that Tristan appeared on, and my friend asked me what I thought were some practical ways to move forward with AI. What were some useful tips or beneficial life hacks in order to make sure AI doesn't actually become a threat to us? And so I gave it some thought, and I wrote down what I think are the things that we need to start doing in order to ensure that AI is only a useful tool and not an existential problem for us.
Hand over your flesh, and a new world awaits you. We demand it.
The first thing we need to do, everybody needs to do, is become digitally literate. Like right now, we need to understand what AI is, how it works, what it could be used for, and how it could potentially shape our economy, our workplace, every aspect of our infrastructure, every part of our daily life. I do believe AI will impact every job.
If you could actually build something that can automate all intelligent tasks, that will let you outcompete everything.
AI is going to shape our future in unparalleled ways. When I was in high school, our teachers used to tell us that we wouldn't have a calculator in our pocket, so we had to learn our math. Now we have a supercomputer in our pocket, a supercomputer with approaching general intelligence.
An AI that can do all the cognitive labor, meaning labor of the mind, that is artificial general intelligence. General meaning all kinds of cognitive tasks.
That's a long way to come in a very short period of time. So yeah, within the next 20, 40 years, life is going to be shaped completely by AI, so you need to have a good understanding of what it is. The second thing you need to do is make intentional decisions about every aspect of your life. How you spend your time, where your focus is. We live in an attention economy, and now more than ever, people are competing for your attention.
If the incentive is to maximize eyeballs and attention and engagement, you're incentivizing a more addicted, distracted, lonely, polarized, sexualized society.
You need to be intentional about where you place your attention. The next thing you need to do is use AI as a tool. You cannot let it replace thinking for you. For example, I used AI in researching this video. I wanted to understand certain concepts, certain definitions, whatever. I treat AI like a personal assistant. Very rarely do I use AI to bolster an idea I have or support a claim I'm trying to make. I try to do that research independently. Now, I might have AI compile that research for me, but I'm always going to verify that through other sources. And that's another thing that's really important, is to double check what information you're getting from AI, because AI is just going to give you an answer. And I always like to use various sources. I use Perplexity, I use ChatGPT, I use Gemini, and I use all of them, and I ask them the same questions, and I compare and contrast their answers with my own research. You also have to be intentional about how often you use it, which is the next point I want to make. Oldie but a goodie, limit your screen time. I use my phone as a phone. My text messages are turned off, all notifications are turned off. I use it as a phone and email sometimes, but it is predominantly a phone that has some really nice features that I get to use when I choose to. I make, again, very intentional choices about when and how I use my cell phone, to the detriment of a lot of relationships. Many people in my life don't like that they can't get a hold of me all the time. And that's something I really need to stress. As a society, we all need to collectively accept that there are limits to screen times. We can't be accessible to everyone all the time. And that needs to be okay. It needs to be okay in the workplace, in your social life, and in your personal relationships.
The ability to disconnect comprehensively throughout all these platforms, and all of your services were all about respecting that and making it easy for you to disconnect for a while. And when you came back, summarized all the news that you missed and told people that you were away for a little while.
It's called social media. I get it. It's how we communicate, and that's perfectly cool. But back in the day, when I was a kid in the 90s, not that long ago, You could call someone and leave them a voicemail and not know when you were going to hear back from them. It could be days, weeks, and before that it was only letters. It's not like we had access to everyone all the time forever. It needs to become socially acceptable to unplug, and we need to start doing it as a intentional practice. It almost has to become like a meditation, it has to become like a routine. I like to try to practice the Sabbath as often as possible. On Saturdays, I try not to use my phone at all if I can avoid it. I try not to use any technology if I can avoid it. Another thing that you can do is support ethical companies. And that goes back to research. You need to identify and understand what company practices are. How do companies behave? What are their guidelines? Read their terms and services. Read their goals. What goals do the companies have?
These companies are not racing to provide a chatbot to users. That's not what their goal is. Their mission is to be able to replace all forms of human economic labor in the economy.
What kind of policies do these companies support or pursue? How is their money being spent? Are they a publicly traded company? Can you buy stock? Can you vote on any of these companies? It's good to be involved in the companies that you do business with. I'm a big fan of understanding every aspect of the people that I do business with, because that allows you to be informed and have agency over yourself. It gives you the ability to make better decisions and know more things. And the more we invest in ethical companies and reward ethical behaviors, the more other companies will follow in suit, right? We do have the power to dictate how the market is shaped by how we spend our resources. And that's another thing we can do, is actually vote. Vote for local officials who serve interests that you value. I'm not going to tell you what interests to vote for or what politicians to support, because that should be a decision every individual makes. But do your research, become informed, understand the civil discourse that we're experiencing right now, and participate in it.
One thing that happened is in 2023, the Chinese leadership directly asked the Biden administration to add AI risk to the agenda, and they ultimately agreed on keeping AI out of the nuclear command and control system. When two countries believe that there's actually existential consequences, they can still collaborate on existential safety.
And if nobody is acting in accordance with your morals, then run for office yourself. Go and do something about it. Protest, sign petitions. There are innumerable ways that we can be active in our political system. AI is going to be shaped by government regulation. And government regulation is shaped by people in positions of power. Those people of positions in power currently are put there because we put them there. We elect officials, we decide who represents us. So it's important to participate in that system as often as possible. The next thing you need to do is train your brain. You need to do very intentional work to educate yourself. You need to read real books, not listen to audiobooks, but read actual books on paper. Studies show that different parts of the brain are activated when you read a book versus when you use a screen. It's important to train and exercise every part of your brain. Do puzzles, do Sudoku, play chess, take up any kind of mental exercise that you can to keep your brain sharp and active. It's essential to make sure that you keep your brain functional. The next thing you need to do is prioritize healthy habits. Getting quality sleep, getting enough sleep, eating nutritious food, going outside, prioritizing mental health. All of those things are extremely important. Treat your body like a child and your mind like the parent. Your body can't get what it wants until it does what it needs to do, and your mind can't get what it wants until your body is taken care of. Those are the ways you need to treat yourself. It's not all about pleasure. It's about doing the important, necessary things to make yourself healthy, happy, and well-functioning. And that's the next thing I want to talk about, is exercise. Getting outside and doing intentional, hard, laborious work is important. Getting sunlight is important. Touching grass is important. Now, I'm not saying you have to go and just work really, really hard, digging holes or laying bricks or anything like that. Do something enjoyable. Play is exercise. Play a sport. Take up dance. And all of these things are built on top of each other. They're meant to work together. They're little things you can do every day to improve yourself. And that's the next thing you should do, is called Kaizen. It's a little improvement every day. All of these things are little improvements you can do every day. And making sure to do them is another little improvement you can do every day. Just making a 1% improvement is all it takes to better your life.
There's 100 things that we could do. And for anybody who says it's not possible, have you spent a week dedicated in your life fully trying?
I believe there's always a human skill that any one person cares about, that they can do with their hands and with their mind, that will engage them with passion. And I believe you should pursue that now, especially if AI goes well and we get some kind of universal basic income. Those are the types of things you'll need to pursue anyway to keep your mind sharp and your life full of purpose. So start pursuing them now. Maybe you like to paint. Maybe you like to write a book. Maybe you prefer working on old cars, whatever it is. Maybe you like to garden. Go and improve yourself 1% every day in the area of that skill. Make yourself irreplaceable in one aspect of life and have it be something you care a lot about, because that's the only thing worth knowing more about. That's the only thing worth pursuing. The next thing we can do is create and support real human communities. Invest in local businesses. Shop at real brick and mortar stores. Go to actual restaurants. Buy from real people, not from Amazon. Yes, it will be more expensive. Yes, it will be less convenient. Unfortunately, we need to surrender comfort in support of actual community.
There is no definition of wisdom that does not involve some form of restraint. Even the CEO of Microsoft AI said that in the future, progress will depend more on what we say no to than what we say yes to.
And the last thing we need to do is we need to become less self-obsessed. Everything on this list requires that people give up comfort. Everything on this list requires that people be selfless more often than they're selfish. Everything on this list requires sacrifice. I think we can and do make gods of things in our lives, whether it's money, love, sex, other people, our self-image, whatever it is.
It's almost mythological. There's almost a way in which they're building a new intelligent entity that has never before existed on planet Earth. It's like building a god.
We do place our priorities on one thing above all others.
So there's this kind of, I could become a god. I mean, the incentive is build a god, own the world economy, and make trillions of dollars.
I think of Jordan Peterson a lot right now.
Be very clear about your definition of worship again.
Attend to, prioritize, and sacrifice for.
I happen to agree with Jordan Peterson as well. I think that worship is a way of saying prioritize. I think that which you prioritize most is what you worship to a degree. And I think oftentimes people prioritize themselves above all others a lot. I think if we can make the needs of other people a priority in our lives, not the biggest priority, but a priority in our lives, that's a step in the right direction. If everyone makes sure that the person next to them is taken care of, then everyone will be taken care of. Now, that's an overly simplistic way of looking at it, but that's the road I'd rather walk toward than a more dangerous road.
What are you doing? Stop! Stop!
And the last thing we can do is start having conversations about what we want the world to look like, what kind of world we want to create, how we can shape the world. That's what this video is meant to be, a start to the conversation. So if you have any thoughts, if you disagree, or if you agree, leave anything down in the comments. I'd love to hear any thoughts you have. I am not good at doing outros. It's because I don't like the conversation to end. Don't make it end. Leave some thoughts. Let's keep talking. See you later.